Hello and welcome. It's time to talk sports now on TVC Breakfast. To begin with, the European Championship with Italy have now been crowned champions of the 2020 European Championship. They beat England 3-2 on penalties after both sides played out a 1-1 draw in regulation time with no one able to find a winner in extra time. England's bid to end their 55-year wait for a major trophy ended in the familiar agony of defeat in a penalty shootout as Italy claims the crown at Wembley. England looked on course for their most joyous day since 30 July 1966 when Luke Shaw gave them the perfect start after 2 minutes. Italy, unbeaten in 33 matches before the final, slowly edged their way back into the game and were level in the 67th minute when Leonardo Bonucci pounced after England goalkeeper Jordan Pickford turned Marco Verratti's header onto a post. And after a tense period of extra time failed to find a winner, it was on to the penalties.
These are the nucleus of a half-decent team there.
But they've made it to a major final for the first time since the...
No mistake. No mistake.
Saved. All right, familiar terrain again for England. Brownson Owana joins me live now to talk about the Euros Championship. Well, Brownson, another heartache for England.
Yes, it was a very sad one, and before that game from round of 16, they were all shouting, "It's coming home," and in the semi-final, the table changed and the Italians took over. It's coming Rome, and at the last day, of course, it went to Rome. But I think England exceeded their target. Look at the fact that they came to that tournament with relatively young players, with few experienced players. Gareth Southgate, of course, tutored the players very well. You could see the togetherness in the team. But big stage like this, you need much experience. That's what the Italians did in the finals. And also, no thanks to Southgate. I think for me, if you have a system that works for you and you have a certain players who have helped you to win a couple of games and that are taking you that far in a tournament, it only makes sense in the finals to retain these players instead of trying something new in a big final like that, where a nation after 50-something years are waiting to win their next title. So, I mean, as much as I feel for England, but I think Southgate had a whole lot to do with the way the team played on the night.
Well, quite a number of people have criticized his decision, to bring on Saka as a penalty taker when you have far more experienced players on the pitch.
I totally agree. Saka is just 17 years. I think the biggest final Saka has played in his career probably will be, and that's, if I remember correctly, a FA Cup finals and probably Community Shield and all. At that stage, you need players that understand. I mean, for instance, look at the Italian national team. They were playing away from home and with the intimidation of the English fan, but they kept their calm. That's because the average age of those penalty players is 26, 27. These guys understand what it takes to win. Mentally, they are very strong. So, I mean, if you look at the last changes he made, bringing on Sancho, Rashford, and Saka, and these are the three guys that missed the penalty. Sad one. I think his choice of selection for that penalty taking was very, very wrong. And when I saw Saka, and then I looked at his countenance, I told people around me that Saka was going to miss that penalty, and he didn't disappoint. So, I mean, no blame should go to those young lads. The coach should take the fall for this one because he had experienced players that would have been able to soak in the pressure and deliver. But of course, it went for young lads, and on the night they didn't come true for him.
Well, we must not take anything away from the Italians anyway. 34 games unbeaten. Roberto Mancini building a new team entirely from the one that Conte built, and then eventually, here they are.
I mean, if you look at the fact that this same Italian team some 3 years ago did not qualify for the World Cup. I mean, who would think that Roberto Mancini will come in and set up a team that would be producing this kind of football? Now, when they qualified for the World Cup, there were a lot of criticism about the Italian team, how Italian football has dwindled, and how long it would take them to come back.
All right, well, Brown Sinawana, many thanks indeed for talking to us. Well, we'll move to other stories now. The Minister of Youth and Sports Development, Sanda Dare, has hailed Nigeria's basketball team, the Tigers heroics, after they became the first African basketball team to beat their American counterparts. The Tigers beat the American basketball team 90-87 on Sunday. The minister added that sports will grow in geometrical proportions by the time key critical stakeholders key into it. He also expressed happiness with progress being made by athletes in the track and field ahead of the Olympics in Tokyo. And Lionel Messi's long wait for an international trophy is finally over, with Argentina defeating Brazil 1-0 in the Copa America final to fill in the biggest gap of his fabled career. Angel Di Maria struck the decisive goal midway through the halfway, latching onto a phenomenal long pass from the impressive Rodrigo de Paul. After Brazil failed to clear their lines, the PSG attacker cushioned the ball with a fabulous first touch off the outside of his left foot before he lobbed the unrushing Edison with a left strike. Victory also snaps Argentina's 28-year wait for a title, with their previous trophy coming in the 1993 Copa America. And in tennis now, Novak Djokovic joined the other two immortals, having claimed his sixth Wimbledon title with a hard-fought win over Matteo Berrettini. Cheered on by a British crowd, the 25-year-old Berrettini could not prevent 6-7, 6-4, 6-4, 6-3 defeat to the world number one, which took 3 hours and 24 minutes. Djokovic moves on to 20 Grand Slam titles alongside his two great rivals, with a promise of more to come.
Winning Wimbledon was always a biggest dream of mine when I was a kid, and I've said this story many times, but I have to repeat it again because I have to remind myself how special this is and not take this for granted. Actually, contrary to enjoy and be aware that this is a huge honor and privilege. And 7-year-old boy in Serbia, constructing a Wimbledon tennis trophy in my room from improvised materials that I could find in the room. And today, standing with the sixth Wimbledon, it's...
Well, Djokovic there, of course, speaking about his joy at winning his 20th Grand Slam title. Of course, that of Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal. Well, that's sports now on TVC Breakfast.